Very good morning, Facebook. It's still morning, 11:31 here. It's Jerry coming to you from Rythmia Life Advancement Center in beautiful Guanacaste, Costa Rica, on what was just a gorgeous day that got a little gray a minute ago. But man, Costa Rica is amazing, and Guanacaste is the spot. Rythmia Life Advancement Center. We're a life advancement center that uses ayahuasca, meditation, yoga, metaphysical teachings, farm to table organic food, the Dead Sea cleanse, a colonic cleanse, all of these things, counseling, all these things come together to create what's known as a soul merger, which is some people say it's a 15,000-year-old theory of merging the soul. We don't believe it's a theory. We believe it's an actual thing. And so do a large percentage of the people that have been here. 15,000 people through the doors. 15,000 people through the doors. 97.04% received a life-changing miracle during their stay, according to them. Then, at the 6 months mark, 90.28% say that this was the week that changed their life. And what does that life change look like after a soul merger? Most of us pick something and we decide to become a beneficial presence on the planet. We move off what you can do for me to what I can do for you, and into a different part of our life that looks, feels, and acts differently than who we were before. Absolutely true. Over 2,500 TripAdvisor of 5-star reviews, and this place is just amazing. Who comes here? Everybody. Celebrities, musicians, athletes, business leaders, and people just like me and you. This little Facebook series is called Don'ts, the things not to do. And in our previous talks, we talked about when your haters are sending you bad energy, how to create a cocoon, make a deal with the universe that returns that energy back to them once it's cleansed you, and it gives that back to them. That's a beautiful thing. Now, what you don't want to do is pay attention to those, especially if they're borderline or narcissistic, because your attention is what they're after. So what you want to do is create that shell. There used to be a cooking device, and I think it was a tabletop cooker, and it used to say, set it and forget it. That's what you want to do with this. You want to do it one time, you set it, and you forget it, and you let that go, and that's their thing forever. Don't pay any attention to it, positively or negatively. The second thing I told you to do was to get rid of false assumptions, like the assumption that you're supposed to lead a stress-free life and that everything involved in your journey of becoming a beneficial presence should be easy. Nothing is more of a lie than that, because it's not easy. The act of going against the grain, of creating something that is not yet there, is an act of labor, hard knocks, rough times, that is part of the process. Now, once we've been doing it for long enough that we attain mastery, then it looks easy. Michael Jordan, later in his career, Tiger Woods at the peak of his career, Michael Beckwith now giving a lecture. There are things you look at that transcend time, right? Secretariat in the 1973 Belmont, it's just something is so much better than the rest, and it looks like something people label as flow. What they don't talk about is everything that led up to that moment that you experienced flow. All the hard work, the hard knocks, the rough times, the failures that are all baked in to that thing once you attain mastery and get flow. Your road's already built by then. So it looks easy from the outside in. A 10-year overnight success, once again, right? The other thing that we talked about was other false beliefs that you're living in a hostile environment, that everything is against you. That in itself is a false belief. Because even though the universe, I just got done telling you, is in support of you, the journey is still hard. But know that things are getting better. We are living in the least violent times of the last 12,000 years. The difference is, you know about the violence now more because of the internet and things of that nature. And if you look at the world and you count the billions of people that are in it, the amount of people that are doing harm to others is small. Know that you're in an environment that supports your unfolding, to know the truth about these things. Now, a lot of times we have misconceptions. And what I'm going to talk about today is about being lucky. I said last week, I am the luckiest guy that I know. I really am. I take a look at it and I go, what? I didn't graduate high school. I didn't graduate college. I wasn't given any money. Holy God, am I a lucky guy. And then I meet people who are very, very lucky. Now, CNN or CNBC did a poll or a study on lucky people. And this is what they found out. And key into this, right? That lucky people leap at opportunities. They leap at opportunities. Lucky people leap at opportunities. And I have a reason as to why in my own idea, why that happens. But it's absolutely the number one common characteristic of lucky people. Number two, lucky people listen to their intuition. They listen to their intuition, which actually is linked to number one, that they leap. And I'm going to get into why I believe this is in a minute. Number three, and here's a big one, they are optimistic. I'm very lucky here because I get a lot of business leaders here that have had super success, a lot of billionaires. You know what the common thing billionaires have? They can get it done. They know that it's possible. All things are possible and they know it. They're optimistic. And number four, they're resilient. These are the four things that they found out in this study as to what lucky people have in common. So I'm going to go back to number one. They leap at opportunities. I leap at opportunities. Do you know why? Because I already have a crystal clear idea of where I want to go. A crystal clear idea. So when somebody comes to me and says, Jerry, what do you think about this? That concept that they're giving me, that opportunity, either lines up or doesn't line up with where I know I want to be. So in a nanosecond, I make up my mind the moment that they stop talking. The moment. I very rarely, and you'll notice people that are in their process of becoming successful don't use a lot of time to think about things. They leap because they know where they want to go. So on the other hand, if you don't know where you want to go, then everything becomes an item that requires focus and thought and consideration and trial and error runs and da-da-da-da-da. Dude, lucky people don't have that. Lucky people know where they want to go and know if what you just propose to them gets them further or closer to it. Boom. What they might do is say, yeah, part of that I like and part I don't like. The part that I like is this. The part that I don't like is this. Change the part that I don't like and I'm on board. Boom. Now, the part about trust, they listen to their intuition. Do you know why they listen to their intuition? Because they know where they want to go. Intuitively, if I have these 10 goals, 10 things, 10 places I want to be, intuitively, I might not be actively thinking about them all the time, but while you're talking and presenting me with this opportunity, I'm feeling if that's getting me closer to it or not. So I trust my intuition, right? I'm optimistic. You know why I'm optimistic? Because by running myself in this way, I've experienced a great success in my life. So knowing that you're not going to quit until you get there, that breeds confidence, and confidence is optimism. It's optimism. All of these things line up. They all line up. And the last one of not quitting, they're resilient. Why are they resilient? Well, let's think about it. I know I want to be there, right? And there's 4 paths I can take. Well, if one doesn't make it, I just take the other path. And if that doesn't make it, I just take the other path. It's not resilience. It's delayed winning. It's not resilience. People look at me sometimes, they go, how after failing all those times do you keep starting? It doesn't even bother me. It's part of the process. People will look at that as resilience, but it's not. It's knowing that I can get there and that I've taken a wrong road. That's all it is. So if you can get clear on this, it can actually reshape how you think about things. And a lot of this, what not to do is reshaping the way that we look at the world. Reshaping it more in line with absolute fact or universal truth. Lastly, and this is something that I find super prevalent amongst people that have not experienced success yet. People who are still on the liability side of the balance sheet, haven't moved to the asset side. They're still in entitlement and what it can do for me. A lot of them have the belief that millionaires were given money, they were given an easier way of getting there and blah, 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 blah. Fortunately, I came across a study this week about millionaires specifically in the United States. It didn't include Canada, it was just the United States. So this is what I learned. Only 21% of the living millionaires in the United States received any money from anyone. 80% didn't get a dime, not a dime. Now, of those 21%, only 16% inherited $100,000 or more. 16 out of 100. 16 out of 100, right? And then only 3% received $1 million or more. The overwhelming vast majority of people that have experienced financial success in the United States did it themselves. You have the greatest opportunity in the world living there. The greatest single opportunity. Now, the media will have you thinking otherwise, right? But while you're thinking that, somebody else is becoming a millionaire. Somebody that is optimistic, that leaps at opportunities, that knows where they're going to go. This is all part of it. Now, if you can learn this, there's 2 ways to learn it. I'll tell you how I had to learn it. I had to learn all this stuff the hard way. I had to fail at everything in order to learn these things. But I watch people all the time, usually they're younger, who can learn these things without experiencing them. If you can learn these things and don't do the don'ts, Don't do the don't. So if this is what makes someone lucky, what makes someone unlucky? Well, overanalyzation, what I call it is paralyzation through analyzation. Analyzing shit so much that you can't move. Not listening to your intuition. Being pessimistic and quitting. That's exactly how not to do it, right? Those are the don'ts. So just take the opposite side and do the do's. The other one is thinking that somebody had it easier than you. What I can tell you is that there are people, because if we live in a factual world, in a fact-based scenario, there are people that had it easier than you. What I will tell you is that those people's experience of it is very similar to yours, right? Whether you had a horrible upbringing or you think you had a horrible upbringing, it feels the same. So pretty much we're all in the same boat. But there's this certain small group of people who keep winning and keep winning and keep winning and get to their become a beneficial presence and do it with a smile on their face. What do I mean by that? Those are the ones who get it. The people who get it are the people who are lucky, and the lucky people have those things. So keep them in mind. Until next week, we'll chat to you next week. God keep you. God bless you. God love you. By the way, I have 2 books that are out, and I want to see you at Rythmia. Why? Because this, and we're going on 8 years soon of doing this stuff. 8 years of data, of people, of success stories, of people who come back and say, man, this was the place that changed my life. My life has been so much different since Rythmia. I've experienced so much success since Rythmia. I've stopped being a negative person and commenting negatively on the internet about other people's situations. And I said, if it's going to be, it's up to me, and I become a greater person. I'm actually off the sidelines in the game. Boom. That's where you want to get. So please come here and get in the game. Cheers, and we'll talk.